Hello guys, welcome. Today I have a very special video that I want us to watch together when atheist was calmly destroyed by an Oxford professor in a heated debate. Let's jump straight into the video and watch together.
He mentioned the virginal conception of Christ. If I may just say a word about that when Joseph discovered that Mary was pregnant, he didn't suddenly believe in a miracle. He wanted to divorce her. Why? Because he knew exactly as we do where babies come from. He wasn't stupid.
Here's an interesting segment of debate between late Christopher Hitchens and John Lennox. Hitchens presents the case that the Old Testament prophecies that were fulfilled in the life of Jesus was tailored by the evangelists to fit in with the story of the Messiah. Hitchens also made the audacious statement that Jesus never claimed to be God. Watch how John Lennox calmly responds to his false assumption.
A virgin will conceive, for example, is another one, though the word in Hebrew, alma, actually just means marriageable young woman, doesn't mean unpenetrated young female at all. But it's all reverse engineering. It says right there in the text, we're telling you this happened because that would mean that the prophecies had come true. So I think you might suspect a little, mightn't you, someone who's telling you literally as they're going along why they're telling you this so that the conditions of prophecy fulfillment can be met. But there's a much graver problem even than that naivete, which is that these prophecies are of a Jewish Messiah to come. And the Jewish religious authorities of the time considered, and who were the nearest, much closer to being eyewitnesses, if the story is true at all, much closer than the authors of any of the Gospels. They were the people who were the religious authority in the area. He was a member, if he existed, of their congregation. They thought he was a sorcerer and a fraud and an impostor, and convicted him of blasphemy, because though he in fact never said that he was God, there are some Christians I know who do say that Jesus is God. There are some who say he only claimed to be the son of. The critical question is, he's asked, art thou the Christ? Are you the Messiah? And he gives a slightly evasive answer at this point, but it's enough to make the Sanhedrin rend its garments. So all you're seeing in this tale, if it be true at all, if it have any truth to it, is the origin of Jewish-Christian fratricide.
Hitchens is absolutely wrong when he states that Jesus gave an evasive answer to his identity as the Messiah, the Son of God. Jesus directly affirmed Peter's confession as revealed from heaven in Matthew 16:16. The rending of the high priest's garment in Matthew 26 was in relation to blasphemy because Jesus was claiming himself of a divine status prophesied in Daniel 7:13.
And those who tell the Jews, why are you wasting your time? The good news has already happened. Why don't you just get with the program? I submit that neither of these propositions is worthy of the consideration of an intelligent or educated human being. It's Bronze Age peasant Palestinian superstition.
Well, if you're going to call it Bronze Age superstition, you'd be better to get it right.
Yeah, what an argument from the I don't want to say the atheist, I think, it's not nice to put it that way. But what a viewpoint from that gentleman, Mr. Hitchens, Yeah, and sad enough is that what he is said there, he actually pretty much represents a larger group of people, who also think the same way or the same thing, So that's quite interesting. So basically, let us now listen to the Oxford professor as a response. Let's jump straight into the video and watch.
Because one of your statements there is just false. Jesus claimed to be God, and they stoned him. Why did they stone him? Because you, being a man, make yourself God. The notion that he never claimed to be God is simply false. And you say prophecy is irrelevant and superstition and all of that. One of the things that I find very interesting about the Christian faith is it's not a mere philosophy. It's geared into history. And when Jesus came, there were various things that were predicted. He fulfilled them. But the biggest of all was the fact that he fulfilled ideas that had been current in Israel for centuries, that someday there would become a person who would die for his people's sins. Now that is a huge thing, of course. And it seems to me that those prophecies, when they are fulfilled, provide part of the evidence that this thing is much bigger than some little local thing happening in Palestine, although it happened there, but is geared into a whole revelation through history itself. So I don't find it a product of Bronze Age superstition. They were not superstitious in any more sense. For example, when he mentioned the virginal conception of Christ, if I may just say a word about that, that when Joseph discovered that Mary was pregnant, he didn't suddenly believe in a miracle. He wanted to divorce her. Why? Because he knew exactly as we do where babies come from. He wasn't stupid, nor was he pre-scientific. And it took a lot of convincing for him to accept what I believe to be the true solution, that this was a unique miracle of God encoding himself into humanity.
In fact, there are about 300 Old Testament prophecies that were fulfilled in the life and ministry of Jesus Christ. The fabrication of these many prophecies to fit in with the life of Jesus is simply impossible. Hitchens is also ignorant of the fact that when the evangelist Matthew uses the word virgin in his gospel, he was quoting from the Septuagint rather than the actual Hebrew Bible. To this end, we can be assured that most of the so-called Bible controversies can be clearly understood if we are willing to open our minds to search for the answers.
That was very interesting. Yeah, that was interesting. You know, I think, you know, one of the things, you know, one of the things that happens, you know, especially with a lot of people, you know, those who profess themselves to be educated, you know, is that some of them, they tend to make the mistake, you know, of trying to, you know, basically to treat God's word, to treat the Bible, you know, as just a standard history book, you know. For instance, most of them, they will tell you, I've read the Bible, you know, cover to cover, and pretty much everything that's in it is garbage, or I don't believe any of this stuff. You know, actually in the Bible, you know, it reviews it, you know, it says that those who read are those who hear but do not understand. In other words, when the heart of a man, you know, is not conditioned right, you know, they won't understand, you know. In other words, they will see but yet not see. They will hear but not hear, you know, if that makes sense, you see. And it's a set position for anyone to be in, you know. It's a set position for anyone to be in. You know, I remember one time I heard a man, you know, he was saying, but actually this man, he was ex-mafia boss, you know. So he was sharing with another guy, you know, how he was once arrested, you know, and as he was arrested, he was put in this hall, you know, where he was alone there, and basically, you know, he was taken away from the sun, taken away from the, from normal life. You get it? Taken away from people. You see? And he said, I started to think, you know, that if truly there is a hell, you know, is worse and is hard and tough, you know, just being in this environment where I am in, just the thought of imagining spending eternity in a place where there is pain, where there is, you know, suffering that is endless, is something that is just unfathomable. You know, you know, the concept of eternity, it's too big for the physical brain, you know, just forever and ever and ever, endlessly. So basically what he concluded was that I really want to research, I want to investigate about this God, about this Jesus. Who is he? Is he someone who can be trustworthy, you know, or be trusted, you know? So, you know, he proceeded, you know, on his journey, and he found this Jesus to be true and to be real, and he's now a Christian. So I think, you know, taking almost the same approach, you know, when we started this Bible, about this God, about this Jesus, you know, we are doing it with a sincere heart, you know, trying to understand, because the Bible is the only book on this earth, you know, that when you read it, it gives you revelation. I myself, I'm a Christian, so someone might be watching and say, "Oh, he's biased because he himself is a Christian." But not just that, I became a Christian because of it. There was a reason I became a Christian. I had to also be exposed to this message, and I had to also investigate for myself, and I believed, you see. So, people like, the atheist individual there, I think it's important for us to, to understand, the consequence that they face, if indeed it's true, that there is a heaven, there is a hell, and the fate for those who do not know God is a place of damnation, which is hell. I think it's a serious matter, that we ought not to just ignore, especially some of them when they are your friends, relatives, family members. You pray for them, so that they may also understand, this same message, you see, that you have come to understand, so that they may also be saved, as you have been also saved, you see. And just another sad thing is to, that atheist gentleman is now, passed on. He died some years ago, I don't know by the time that he died whether he had, come to peace with his creator, whether he died, finally knowing God, finally having him in his heart, I do not know about that. But what I know, as long as you're still alive, you're still breathing, I challenge you, research for yourself, be on a journey, to discover who you really are. And you can only do that, in God. Why? Because He's the creator. He's the one who created you. If you want to know or understand more about a product, you go to the manual or you go to the one who created the product. And basically, that's where the manual comes in, Well, enough about me now. Tell me also, guys, what you think in the comment section. I also want to hear your views concerning this one. What do you think?